my name is Fabs. I am part of the PicMonkey team, and we're just waiting for some people to join here, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for joining our PicMonkey 101 live. Just to give you guys a little bit of background, but what we typically do at these every month is we just walk through PicMonkey. We dive into all of the features, anything that's new. Basically, we just do an overview of the whole tool, and Crystal is our creative director, and she's going to be leading today's 101. So she's very, absolutely a PicMonkey pro. So she knows the tool ins and outs, and I'm just waiting for her to join here so that she can start sharing her screen and get started.
I'm with you now.
I was gonna say, I think I see her name in here.
Yep.
How's it going, Crystal?
Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday, everybody.
Friday Junior.
We already got testing, and I love it. It's going to be very interactive today, so feel free to pop in questions.
So pop in. You can pop into the chat if you guys have any questions as we go. Crystal and I love answering questions, and while this is going to be a walkthrough of the product, it can also go any specific direction you want it to. So if there is something that you want to see in particular, we are flexible, and we would be happy to show anything that you guys want to see. So I'm going to hand it over to Crystal so you can share your screen.
Thank you.
As soon as I can find your name. Okay, Crystal. All right. You should have the power now.
I have the power. All right. Can you all see PicMonkey here?
Yes, we can.
And can I hide some? Can you see all the Zoom UI, or is that hidden yet?
Only you can see Zoom. I think that for us, we just see your screen, so we're groovy.
Excellent. Perfect. So I generally start with a few minutes just like giving an overview of PicMonkey, like once you sign in, what you kind of see, what you have available to you, and then we get into the editor and how to use that for the design and photo editing stuff. So what we're looking at here is I have signed up for PicMonkey. I'm in a signed in state, and in this case, I've actually made some designs or edited some photos. So you can see that here. So I can always come back here by clicking the PicMonkey logo in the top left, and I can always create new from many different sources in the top here. Home or hub is where everything gets auto-saved that you create or that you open. It automatically saves to hub, so you can edit it later if you need to. And you can organize those hub documents into your folders. So here I have some logos that were created in PicMonkey and some photos that we played with and edited. And what we'll look at today for this demo is going to be some couch photos. I can change how I view these. I can sort them differently, stuff like that. And I can also build a brand kit if you have a brand, whether it's personal or for business. You can create logos, you can save fonts, you can even add graphics or templates that you've created, design templates if you're reusing layouts a lot. We reuse a lot of layouts for things like social or for email. You can always do that, and your color palette. So from there, there's a lot of entryways into making something. So you always have the create new here. You can always edit new image, which is also a way to create a design. Or you can go to a quick entry point along the bottom. These are preset blank canvases that you also get if you create new from blank. Or you can start with a template. We do have featured templates that we see used a lot, or that seem kind of popular for social, or that like have something seasonal or trending that's happening that we feature here. So for today, I'll start from blank first. And I am going to get this pop-up that allows me to choose either a custom size or an outcome. For today, I'm just going to create an Instagram post because it's a square. So it's an easy thing for us to all see and play with. Once I'm in the editor, I have a file with that create new option and a few other things here that we'll get to later. And I can still access those templates I can start from a collage, which we'll see on a different page. We have some themes or design kits. We have a smart resize feature that we're also going to see later, where I can add an image. And then in my left rail over here, this left panel has things I can add like text, photos, videos, thousands of graphics. We have a draw tool that's really fun. I can change the background color. I can apply a texture or an image fill, which we're going to see. I can do photo effects or photo editing on pretty much anything I add to my canvas here. Just some basic options. We have some touch-up tools that work on both faces or on objects or things like furniture, you'll see, and a couple other things. So that's a general overview of what we're looking at. I'm going to start with a photo, and I can add a photo right here in the top left from my hub. So I've had a photo shoot in this case. Let's pretend I've had a photo shoot of all these couches. I'm a furniture seller or an interior designer or something. So I'm going to open from my hub. I can go to this folder with all of my saved pictures, and I can add from there, something like this. And if I wanted to use this photo in a design, I could as is, or if I just want to feature this couch, I can remove the background, which is a really popular functionality. Once that's removed, I'm going to double click on this, crop it in a bit, and then do some fine-tuned editing to that background remove. So one of my favorite things about the background remover that we have is it's editable afterwards. So in the left panel here, there's a little erase tool, and I can paint and erase in different shapes. I can change the size, the hardness, like how thick the edges are, the strength if I wanted it to just like fade out. And you can really play with it and tweak here. So maybe I don't want all of this bottom to go away. I can come in and do some like pretty quick adjustments that make it work. And I'm not gonna have to make it perfect because I'm gonna make a little design around it, and I can always edit it later. So it's just fun for like that fine tune, like little extra. A lot of the times, like we see a lot of people that are doing editing for Shopify or Etsy, where they're removing a background on something that's like maybe white on white or like similar color to the background and a little bit too much gets taken away. This is a really good way to adjust that or fix it.
Crystal, can you tell us a little bit about how we can upload images to our hub?
Yes, absolutely. Let me go back. I'm going to hit hub as home. So I can drag from my desktop. Oh, you're probably not going to be able to see this. I can drag from my desktop to edit. Or I can go back. I can create new. I can import from my computer, from Dropbox. I can open a stock photo. OneDrive, Flickr, Instagram, Google Photos, and Google Drive are all integrated, so I can connect any of those accounts. Once I'm in the editor, I click on my document that we're in. I can click photos and videos, and I can actually drag onto this panel here and drop in as many photos as I want to populate the design. I feel like there's another way that I'm forgetting. There's many ways to open photos though. And then
yeah, and if you are in a folder where Crystal was before looking at the couch in there, there is that upload icon at the top left, and you can just upload as many pictures.
Thank you. I know I was forgetting one.
As you'd like.
And you can select, however many you need to. There, whoops. And don't click too many times, because that's what I just did and accidentally opened another photo. But it's kind of cool because even if you open a photo from your hub, that's just a photo, you can still remove your background, and that photo then becomes a layer that you can edit. Does that answer the question?
I think so. Thank you.
Perfect. We're going to use this couch since it was so eager to be used. So I have my background removed object. I'm double clicking my mouse to be able to crop in. I can also choose crop layer in the left panel right here. It's a little quicker to double click, so that's what I end up doing most often. And I crop in so that I have a little more flexibility when I'm editing objects around it. So I'm gonna click apply there. I'm gonna smart resize real quick just to get back to that Instagram square. So I click smart resize in the top. We'll go to Instagram, post, and there we have my square again. Oops. And I can center my couch, my new couch. So it's kind of fun as it is. Blank, let's build some stuff around it so it really pops. I'm gonna use our collage tool to make a background. Clicking the two cells here. Our collage tool is super flexible, and I'll demonstrate it a little bit more on a coming page, but I can adjust the size around the edges. I can round corners. I can change spacing in between cells. And once I get photos or videos in it, like if I want, I want something like tactile behind half of this. Something kind of like dreamy, airy. I can just, I can either open up one of my uploaded photos and drag it into a cell, or I can go to stock photos or videos and drag and drop that in. I can also fill cells with a color, which is what I'm going to do for this one. And I'm going to pick a color from my feather background using the eyedropper tool under the solid color back here. So it's kind of interesting. It's not quite popping enough for me, so I'm going to use one of our gradient fills. This is a new feature for someone. If anyone's been in PicMonkey for a while, this is actually just launched this week, and it's really awesome. But it's a gradient fill. So I'm going to adjust so that it's top to bottom, just like this photo is. I'm going to keep that color that I selected on the bottom, and then I'm going, or on the top, and then I'm going to select a lighter photo color for the bottom, so it's kind of opposite of the feathers. If I wanted to add a third color and get kind of crazy, if I add a third color, it creates a nice like smooth gradient with an additional color. Or I can select something out of my photo, or I can add from one of our preset gradients and make it that way, or my brand colors. So I kind of like this really smooth layout. It's just a couple ways you can fill things. That gradient fill is on our graphics and shadows and stuff too. So if I wanted this to pop, this couch to pop, I could add a shadow or an outline to it. And on this drop shadow, I can make as many adjustments as I want. And I can also do a gradient in the shadow. Something kind of funky. Just kind of neat. There's also an outline tool, which we'll get to in a second. I'm not going to keep that shadow on there. I'm going to add text, and let's call this a sale.
Can you also, I'm sure you'll add some, okay, I was gonna say you're gonna add some color here, but we had a question about how you got to gradient. And with this new gradient feature that we just launched, basically anytime you change the color of almost anything in PicMonkey, you'll see the option gradient right on the right there. So you see solid colors where you've always seen colors. So if you change the color of text, graphic, background, anything, you'll see the solid one.
Text is coming.
Text is coming. Okay. Sneak peek, and
Yeah.
You'll see solid, and then gradient will be right on the right. So that's how you get to it.
So for our text, we have a lot of fonts. I can add text from a text layout. I skipped over this a little bit. If I wanted to, if there was something like big and bold I wanted to do, I could do that. I'm also just going to show you how to make this essentially. So I'm going to delete that. I've added the text that I want. If I have brand fonts, they'll be saved right at the top. If I have more than one brand kit, if I'm a business user, I might have multiple brand kits. I can save those here and I can sort through them or toggle through them. In this case, I do have some brand fonts, but I'm just gonna browse through these. We have hundreds of fonts that are built into PicMonkey. If you have your own personal ones, you can upload them as a pro user, I believe. If you wanted something off your computer that you use all the time. We have many categories. I'm going to click option and click on this drop down so you can just see brand fonts and then different kinds, kind of more modern, more traditional, more like decorative, and some other interesting ones. So it's fun to browse through if you're looking for inspiration or having fun with different things, or you can always have your go-tos with either recents at the top, recently used, or your brand fonts. And I can adjust my text box here to be kind of big. I think in the text layout it's 5 times, so let's get that in 5 times. And with our text, we have a bunch of options. So in the left panel, you'll see the text color we're gonna change. Anything you want, those fonts. And then if there's font styling, we can do like different alignments or things, or spacing and height. That just means the width between letters or between line heights. See how that works? If I wanted to do something like curved text, it's just one click, and we'll probably demonstrate that later, but it's really cool if you're making like a little circle badge or a little circle logo, or calling something out in an interesting way where you need an arc. That's all there for you too. A really popular look that we see happen often is this outline effect, which is under shadow and outline down here. And with this, you can play with your color of your outline. I might grab something again from my photo, just so it's a little more cohesive, and maybe even go a little darker. And from here, you can adjust how thick this is. Pardon me? Did you hear something? No?
I think there was someone unmuted. There was some background noise, but if you guys do have a question, let us know in the chat, or can also just let us know.
Yep. So what I'm playing with here is just distance, just some of the different options that are under that outline tool. It's really customizable. So if there's something you're looking for, you can just kind of play with it. It's fun to see the different effects you can get with these guys. Or you can do a knockout, which means the text itself goes away and only the outline stays. You can also combine different shadows. So if I wanted an outline and also a shadow, I can do that right here. Maybe I want something kind of 3D looking.
Can you put a gradient on that shadow?
Oh yeah, I can. So, and even in here in the shadow color picker, I have the tab option for gradient. And I can do the same as before, where I can select a preset. I can play with the color. I can use recently used colors. I can use my brand palette. Let's pick something from this awesome pink couch that we have here.
I want to call something out really quickly. So I see a question about how Crystal's background remove tool shows up on the left, but for some people it may be showing up as a floating UI. If you are seeing it as a pop-up still, there is the UI or the site as we know it now, what you're looking at Crystal's screen. If you on the bottom left underneath all of the editor tools, right down there where she's kind of hovering her mouse, you should see the ability to accept the new kind of look of PicMonkey. So if you go ahead and click that, then you will have the same view as Crystal. And we highly, highly recommend it because it is for your workflow, would make it a whole lot easier to have this version. So if you haven't already done so, feel free to do that and it'll be easier for you to follow along.
It's much nicer to not have a bunch of things pop up in my way. I have to say, I love it. I love it. So I've got a gradient on my shadow. I've got this outline effect happening. I have a really cool text layout. I can also either erase or I can put my text behind the couch. And what I'm doing here is in my layers in this right panel. A layer is just basically anything you add to your canvas. Like imagine you have a bunch of pieces of paper standing on top of each other. You can like stack them. That's all layers are. So I'm going to put that stack behind the couch and let that couch stand out. And I can adjust it from there if I want to. If I want just a little pop of something interesting, maybe I only want the pillow to stand out. If we had a cool pillow or something on here, I could use the erase tool that I used on the adjusting the background erase photo earlier. Go to that erase tool and I can zoom in. I'm zooming in with my trackpad in this case, but you can do it also in the bottom little panel there. And I can erase this text and just have that pillow stand out and play with that if I wanted to. So there's a couple different, like a little bit creative options. Again, it's everything in PicMonkey is so flexible and interesting. I'm going to apply that, but I'm going to undo it with just edit undo. I can also undo and redo in the bottom here if I do anything that's silly.
We had a question about adding a previous project to a current project, and Cassandra actually just answered it for Leslie that you can click add an image and go to your hub. And anything that lives in your hub, which is basically any project you have worked on in PicMonkey, because everything is automatically saving. So if there's any project that you've created in the past, you can access it by clicking add image from hub. And then Crystal, do you want to bring something in that has been designed that has maybe more elements so that we can revert? This is actually a pretty cool little trick because so let's say we bring this guy in right here. We can right click on this, and since it was created in PicMonkey, we can say revert all changes. And all of those layers that are in that original design from a previous project will become editable and they'll become layers in your current project. But this is awesome. I use this feature all the time, and it's really helpful if there's something that you want to bring in and add. If it's text, if it's a design like this sun graphic, if it's anything, this is a really fun little trick.
Yeah, especially I use it for like, if I have a logo placement that I use on every Pinterest pin, for example, I just have that saved in PicMonkey, either as a template if I'm starting from there or in my hub in a folder, so I can add the image and then revert it and adjust things as needed. Like just so I have the same size consistency and everything on that. Or in this case, like if I have a graphic element background that I want to reuse and I get halfway through a design and I'm like, oh, that would be really cool because I used this last week, I can bring it in here and do that.
Yep. And I am seeing some comments about the speed. We do only have an hour and so much to cover. So we do have to keep moving. But yes, there is a replay right after this. I will be uploading this to our YouTube. So if you want to rewatch it and pause and play and rewatch and slow down, you totally can. But for this live tutorial, we do have to kind of keep moving. So apologies if it's going too fast. We just have a lot to cover because there's so much cool stuff. So thank you, Crystal.
I will also add that we do have a PicMonkey 101 course that Fab's just refreshed that's coming out in the next couple of days that we can also share. That's really great. It breaks things down like section by section by section, and it's super like introductory. That is worth taking a look at if you're new. I'm going to do one more thing here that's a little interesting. I'm actually going to copy this middle sail and delete it. And I'm gonna paste it in. And I'm using Command C and Command V like you would in a Word document or something. You can also right click and duplicate or delete or whatever you want to do for those. I'm going to remove for now the shadow and outline so you can see my sail. And I'm going to add an image fill. We get a lot of questions for how to fill things with glitter or foil. I'm going to start with one way that we can do it, which is with textures. And you can add glitter or foil that we have preset already. If you wanted something to really shine and pop out, you can do it like that. And it's just, you just click on whichever one you want. You can adjust the size if you want like bigger pieces. You can move it around. Or you could just click the color that you want and then click apply. It's just one click to get that fill. If you want to edit that image fill or that texture that we have in there, you can click edit image fill here on the left, and I can either adjust that from here or I can replace it. Even with like a stock photo or a photo that I have saved in my head, maybe I want it to be oil instead of glitter. Like, taking a second because it's streaming. And then from there, I can adjust the crop if I want a certain shine somewhere or anything. So it's kind of just an interesting thing that you can do to get different looks. I can still apply my drop shadow and my outline to that. I just didn't want it to distract from the texture being applied. Cool. So kind of fun things just like that. If I wanted to maybe make this pop, I can animate it. We have a bunch of one-click animations, like entrance animations. Like if I wanted this to fade in or slide in, we also have some that loop. And we have just a few like different options there. If you have more than one object selected, like this, now this middle cell is a separate object, it automatically kind of stacks them so that they move a little bit differently, which is cool. If you're like doing a bunch of different graphics or something, it makes it interesting to look at. And then you can export an animated document as either an MP4 video, which is good for like a lot of social or your website or something, or you can export as a GIF animated image for something like an email. Also could be for our website or something like that. So just different file formats that you can have.
Yep. And you can now adjust the kind of intensity of the looping one, so you can have it be lighter or more extreme. If you're, yeah, if you're into more extreme. We have a quick question here, Crystal. Would you be able to do what you just did with the gold foil with the letters? Can you do that on shapes to add an image in a shape?
Totally. I'm going to go ahead and add a page here. This is a little busy, so I'm just going to add a page. In the bottom right here, I have my page management, and I can add new from there. If I want to go back to my layers, I can. There's also a tab up here that I can go between pages and layers. Gives me a couple options here. So got a fresh blank page. Since we're looking at couches, I'm going to go to our graphics library. So we have a bunch of categories. It's a lot of stuff. If you want to browse, there's a lot of cool things in here. Some are a little more businessy, some are a little more like lifestyle-y or hand-drawn. There's a bunch of options. So I usually am coming to search if I'm not just looking for inspiration. So we're looking at couches. I'm going to search for couch. I'm going to drop this on here. And then I'm going to go to my photos. Since I uploaded this gradient graphic image, I'm actually going to use it. So I could go to my photos and drag and drop. I could go to textures, as we saw before, and I could add my own texture. I could fill with image, which I can show also. There's so many ways you can image fill something. But in this case, I have this photo uploaded. So I'm just gonna drag it and drop it right onto my shape. So I'm just taking it from my left panel and dragging it onto the shape, and it's filling with that photo. You could do it with any of these photos. If I wanted I don't know if this is a cow. Cow, I could do that. And it just fills. And it's that easy. If I wanted to edit that image fill, again, I can. If I wanted to play with it a little bit, I could. If I want to replace it, because I don't want this cow back on it, I'll go back to my gradient. It's pretty cool. You can do that with any of our graphic shapes. So if you want it to fill, another question we often get is like filling a circle image. There's a couple ways you can do that. I'm going to delete my rainbow couch. I can drag a basic circle graphic onto my canvas, and I can fill with image. This time I'll go from Hub. So I could upload it from any of these places where I have connected, like if I wanted something from my Instagram account or from Dropbox or whatever, or from my Hub, like I have everything saved. And I can select an image that fills from my Hub as well. Cool. Let's start from here. So in this case, I had this like design, this beautiful design in my Hub with a bunch of little couches that are outlined. It's kind of what we saw before with the background erase plus a little outline actually on the photos this time. So I'm going to center that. I like having alignment on. I'm a detail-oriented designer, so having a little alignment helps me. If I want even more help in this area, there's some settings in this bottom part right here with alignment where I can either show bleed marks. If you're printing a lot, this is a popular thing where there's crop and bleed. If I'm going to a professional printer, you might need that. So I'm just going to show where it is. I can also have a little grid if I want some different kind of alignment tools, and I can snap to that grid if I want to. So just a little bit more advanced settings for you. I can also adjust the workspace here if I want to, and just have a few options. So that's in this little cog menu back down here at the bottom. Let's look at draw. So we have a really fun draw tool that has some basic brushes that are outline-ish. We also have some premium brushes that have some more shapes in them, some more textures on them, some interesting stuff. So I'll start with the basic one here. I'm going to choose the color from my photo again. And I'm going a little quick because I'm just getting this as a little accent on here. I'm going to increase the size of my draw. And then I'm just going to really roughly trace the edges of this, and I'll show you why in a second. So I'm going to apply that. And you can do a lot of cool things with draw, but it's a really fun way to make unique accent shapes, like on the background here. From here, the orange is kind of cool, but I want it to be a little less intense, and it's an interesting shape to have that design pop out. With all of our graphics and any layer on your canvas, really, you can use our effects, which are photo effects. Like if I wanted to add a photo effect, I could to pretty much anything. I could use it on a photo and use a lot of really cool things as filters, but I can also do things like this. So I'm in effects, I'm clicking on my soften effect, and I'm just gonna soften that out to get a cool orange, like kind of gradient glow happening, and apply that. It's just another fun way to play and customize, really making your designs unique in PicMonkey. I have the background selected in my layers.
Quick
I have
question,
background.
Crystal, for you. Can you make the filled image larger or smaller to use a portion of it?
Yes. So if I select the object and I edit image fill, it gives me these little handles here that I can then adjust. And I can play with that, I can drag this around. I can crop in really, really tight. I can move things around as much as I want.
Thank you.
And at any time, that edit image fill is there for me. So click done. Show you one more time. I have the object selected, clicking image fill and adjusting these little anchors. I will apply that. Cool. So since we have a circle image, I'm going to add some text. Circle text. I'm going to make this a color that stands out, black, and make it a little bit smaller. And then this is where I'm going to show you our curved text option for a circle, so you can see what that looks like around a circle object. I am playing in this left panel, really just looking for a font so you can actually see this circle. So I'm gonna go back to my circle text. I'm gonna turn it off. So I have my text, you can barely see it on this image, but I'm just clicking circle and it's just done. And I have it centered on my page. If I wanted it to be slightly offset, we see this look a lot. I can drag it and drop it up here, and I can still edit that text by double clicking, change the color. I can still completely edit it as much as I want, or again, add an image fill, like dragging and dropping a color on it, or adding a texture, like a glitter or a foil, or any of the other ones that we have. Cool. Next, I'm at another page. And we'll look at just editing an image a little bit. I'm gonna grab one
Maybe
of
we
these.
can show off some pro effects too. I don't think we've done have we done a live with pro effects already?
I don't think we have. Another new feature.
Yes.
I'll do a quick photo edit on this, and then I will do a pro effect. So I have this really kind of boring image, not boring, but very, very simple. And it's just really off a little bit with this outlet on it. So I want to remove this outlet first. I'm going to go to my edits. And from here, I can resize the image, I can rotate, I can adjust the color and exposure, which I'm going to in a minute, or I can clone things out. This is just like replacing something in your image with something else. I can set my source by clicking on wherever I want to be, and I can just paint over it. It's a really, really easy way to get rid of unwanted objects in photos or touch things up, or I use it on blemishes. Like it's a really, or like stray hairs. It's a really useful tool to have, and it's pretty simple. Your source you're selecting is just whatever is nearby and just like dragging them down. So it's an easy way to get rid of something in a photo.
That's awesome. Really quick question too, Crystal, since you're in here, can you also show us how you can blur the background of this couch, like the back of the image, but leave the couch not blurred?
Yes, and there's a couple ways we can do that. Hold on, let me adjust this. Okay. So the first way I'm going to show is more to show or paint and erase, goes beyond just background erase. So if I'm going to my effects in the left panel, I have a focal soften effect, which is a circle that I can like make kind of work for me. This is better for like portraits or single objects. Or I can scroll to the soften effect. And in this case, I'm actually going to erase and paint on where I want the effect to happen. So I have the whole thing blurred right now, and I'm going to erase the couch. I'm not going to spend too much time here, but this is one way to do it. It depends on your object, what works best. That's one way to do it. Let's pretend that that's a little cleaner, but for time, I'm not going to spend a ton of time zooming in and out. And then I can adjust the softness. So that's like too much, but if I just wanted to like soften it a little bit, again, it works really great on objects if you're just having something pop, to soften it lightly around the edges. So you can play with that soften slider, and you can also fade out however much you want that softness to be.
I don't know if you were going to demo this next, but also if you layer the same image on top of each other and you
That's what I was going to show next.
You were going to do that? Okay. Here's another way.
So another way is I undid that softness paint on and off, and I have this centered, and I'm gonna use Command D. It duplicates my image. I can also right click and duplicate the layer, and then drag this layer on top. And then I can use remove background. Oh. My remove background is broken. It's probably because I had this as a different kind of file. There we go. So I remove my background. I'm going to crop in a little bit so I can select this background photo. So this is the top layer. This is the bottom layer. And I have the background one selected. And I can go back to effects and back to that same soften effect. And that allows me to, let me go to hard edges so it fits the frame. That allows me to adjust the softness of just what's behind it and leaves this object as it was. It's usually the easier option. But I like the paint erasing depending on what the object is, so it's good to know both. Excellent. So we've gone through some photo editing. I did some quick adjustments that were just auto adjustments there. If you saw it, if anyone wants to see a little more photo editing, let us know. Otherwise, I'll continue on. So this is kind of a fun, I could make this in design if I wanted to, but let's look at Pro Effects real quick. So I'm on my next page, just to start from scratch. I'm gonna open up a photo of a couch. I'm searching in the stock. We have a ton of stock photos. We have premium options and basic options. So there's something for everyone in there. I can search here, easily grab something that I want and play with it from there. So I'm just scrolling through for something that looks kind of interesting. Look at how calm this living room looks. I wish my living room was this clean. So I have my photo open. It's just a layer on the canvas. And I have this little thing here that has a bright orange new thing called Pro Effects. And these are really cool effects that we put together that are super unique and kind of trendy looking different things. There's some that use background erasing different textures and shadows. There's some frames for folks that are older PicMonkey users. There are frames here that are built in to work just like our old frames did, where it actually crops your photo in. We have some built-in one-click outline presets. Just a lot of cool stuff in here, and some kind of interesting things that you might not think of doing yourself that can be applied as well. So if you wanted something like this couch photo to be in a frame, I'm just clicking on this film frame. It's just one-click effects, and that's all it is. Makes it really easy to play with the design. I can apply that. This then becomes something I can adjust and move around. I can do things like, maybe here I want to add a video background of clouds, because this is like kind of a dreamy living room. I can grab a clouds video and apply that to the background. And then if I preview it, we're going to go through all my pages.
Just a good time to call out that when you do have multiple pages, you can export as a video, and it actually exports kind of like a slideshow for you, which is pretty cool as
Yeah,
well.
it's fun.
Looks really nice, Crystal.
Thanks. We have some cool ways you can treat videos. So I have this video as the background, but if I wanted to like do more than just like trim it, which I can, trim the time down, or edit it just briefly like that, I can actually promote this to a layer. There's this little tiny lock button in the layers palette that if you hover over it, it says convert to layer. That means my thing goes from being a background to being, you can see the selection box here, being a full-fledged video that I can drag around just like any other object. And I can do some cool stuff with that. Like if I make this video just fill half of my canvas, and I apply a background color, maybe. Let's do something that's a good amount of contrast. Not a good design decision. I recommend neon behind pretty couch, but I will do this for design purposes. So I have my video on top of that background layer. I can do a couple things with it with fade and blend that are kind of cool. A blend mode is just how something appears when it's stacked on top of another thing. And each of these act a little bit differently depending on the color of your photo and the color of your background, so they're fun to play with if you're looking for a really unique look. But with videos, it can make it kind of cool because they can be a little more cohesive with your design without taking away from like the colors you have chosen. I'm gonna go with this one. I'm not sure if you're gonna be able to see it, but you can kind of see it just makes it like, it applies the colors kind of from your background to the video. You can see that a little bit more. So if I move it however I want, it lets me see through that video into something else. It can use it to my advantage, really. Makes it kind of fun.
So cool.
Yeah. And I still have my little pro effect thing here that I can play with if I want to.
Kathy just asked, can you export carousel posts as videos? So Crystal, correct me if I'm wrong, but anything that has an animation or motion can be exported as an MP4. Anything with multiple pages can be exported as multiple pages or single ones. And then what is the other use case for exporting MP4, Crystal? I think that's it, right?
I think that's it.
Yeah, so you can export anything that is multi-page as a video and anything that has motion as a video.
Yeah, whether it's many pages or one page, you can export as video or GIF.
Yeah.
We do also have, in addition to the animation tool, we have animated graphics that are pre-built as GIFs that, well, that's kind of hard to see. Let's grab something easier to see, like this squiggly arrow. Maybe this is the pillow I want everybody to look at. I'm gonna drag it onto here. I can resize it and adjust it. These don't have the ability to change color like some things do, but they're pretty cool as is. We tried to make them pretty generic. So I can play with the placement and layout. And then if I play this, it's gonna play the whole thing again. Let me skip to that part. Then I have both my little arrow getting drawn on, and I have these clouds moving behind it with that pretty color from the background. Super eye-catching if you're making stuff for social or email or any marketing where you want something to really pop out. Cool. How are we doing on time?
We've got about 10 minutes left, so we can open it for questions if you guys have any questions, or if there's anything else, Crystal, that you want to show.
I can show a little more traditional photo collage and then resize my whole document, or you guys can throw stuff at me and I can show you individual things.
Why don't you go for it, and then if questions pop in, then I can let you know.
Cool. When I'm
And
adding
then, and then we
pages,
have a cool announcement
yes.
about
Oh yeah.
sharing. Yeah.
I have a couple minutes for that. So when I'm adding pages, it retains the background color. So I have this gradient background on this last page, so it kept that here. I'm going to keep that because you might be able to see the collage. So that was a little easier that way. So in our collage, we have a bunch of preset layouts, which are great. I'm just going to grab a pretty straightforward one. Like I showed before, I can either have the same spacing on everything, or corner rounding makes really nice circle graphics. If you're just looking for a circle image or video, this is actually a really great way to get that. You can do one cell or you can play with them for different ones. So super cool to have that corner rounding or different effects that way.
It looks like you're making a sticker sheet. So cute.
Yeah.
Quick question for you, Crystal. If somebody uploaded a logo, their own, can they animate certain parts of it?
Yes, but you would have to, let me go to my brand topics. You would have to,
Have different layers of that.
you wouldn't have to have different layers. Hold on. So pretend this is my pre-made logo. If I wanted to only animate style, for instance, I would have to duplicate this, drag it right on top, crop in only on that part, and potentially crop in on the other part, depending on what kind of animation you want. And then animate only that element. So yes, if your logo is clean enough where you can do this, or you can erase around it with the eraser if it's more complicated and just animate that element. But then that gives you that option.
Yeah. Of course, we'd have if you had a transparent background on this, obviously the background wouldn't be animating as well, but that's exactly the way I was thinking too, just cropping your logo.
That's a great question.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's a really cool way to make a GIF for a logo. And I wanted to just let you guys know something really exciting that we're sharing is, speaking of sharing, it's something new with our share feature, which I don't know if you'll be able to see it here. Okay.
Oh, I can't end this account.
Okay, so
you want to take over?
Yeah, I can show. Let me show my screen really quickly so you guys can see this. Basically something that I have been as a PicMonkey user, I've always wanted to be able to share my designs with friends or with my colleagues. Crystal and I both work really closely with our social media channels. And a lot of times I'm making something and I just want to send it to her that would still be an editable file. So we've been requesting this feature quite a bit and we're super excited that has come to life. So let me try to find how to share my screen here. I can share with you guys. Here we go. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So up here is share, which we've always had a lot of share options. You can share directly to Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. You can also invite others to collaborate with you. You can have a way to email, and now you have a link. So not only do you have the ability to share a view only link, which would flatten the image and kind of just send you just this picture that you're seeing here. But now I can do an editable file as well. So if I copy this link and send it to you guys, you would then receive this as is, and you can go ahead and make any changes to it. All the layers would be editable. Any logos that you have in there, any layer that you have, and if it's multiple pages, any pages. So basically, you can be sharing a template, a design, something that you made, and you can send somebody just a link and they would be able to make their own changes to it without affecting your version. So they would have their own version of this template or design that they can then change. So this is super, super new. This is kind of something that is just launching internally at PicMonkey, and we're working on getting it out for all of you guys to use. So we would love to request your feedback on this. We'd love to know if you see yourself using this. If so, like, how would you use it? Would you be sharing your designs for someone else to use, or kind of like any use cases that you have for us would be super, super appreciated. And I actually put together a little Google form just to make it easy for you guys to provide feedback, because we do these 101s not only to kind of help you guys understand the product, but also to learn from you and get all of the feedback that we can from you guys, because it's super important that you guys are happy so that we can continue doing what we're doing over at PicMonkey to make sure the tool is exactly what you guys need. So I just dropped the Google form in the chat. So if you guys can just jump in there and give us any feedback that you can, we would super, super, super appreciate it. I hope you guys are excited about that feature, because I certainly am. I have been requesting this for a long, long time. So
I'm stoked about it.
Yeah. And let's see if there are any other questions. I think, Crystal, you were just kind of monitoring the chat,
I'm trying to get through to, the inches to pixels. We have a conversion chart. We do have a size limit that I need to double check. I think it's like 6,400 pixels for that. And then inches to pixels is so great, and we are asking for that. So keep the requests coming in.
Yeah. Everything you guys request, like we hear you, we pass it on to our product team right away. So thank you guys so much.
Will there be changes soon to the app?
Always.
Oh, improvements. Yes.
Yes.
Mobile app, yes. Desktop app, yes.
Yeah, there's actually some really exciting stuff with the mobile app specifically coming soon. So
yeah,
stay tuned. And just to let you guys know, once again, this is recorded. This is going to live on our YouTube. I did get a question about how to access it on YouTube. I'm going to make sure that it is front and center. So I'm going to have a PicMonkey 101 live kind of sit at the top of the page so that you guys can rewatch these. And we do these every month. So keep an eye out on your email. We try to invite you guys kind of to join us every month. And we also do every Friday. We just do kind of smaller version of this, just a quick like little creation internally with our
more
designers.
like design focused for inspiration and fun,
we just
but also there for questions.
Yes. So if you want to see Crystal's face and my face every Friday, you can join us at our playground. We call it our design playground, and we are so grateful for all of you. If you guys have any questions, let us know. And please, if you can just scroll up on the chat and let us know what you guys think about that new share feature, we would super appreciate it. And actually, I'm going to drop one more link in here, and it's the registration for the Friday meetings, so that you guys can join tomorrow. Okay.
All the links.
I know, so many links.
You guys are rad. Thank you.
Here, let me just drop this one more. So this is the Friday design playground is dropping in the link right now. Okay, cool. Thank you all. I'm going to not close this out just yet, but I am going to kind of end my portion of this just so you guys can access the chat box. Crystal, thank you so much.
You're
such a great PicMonkey Pro.
Love the questions that come in too. Thank you.
Yes, thank you all. Have a good one.
Bye.